On this episode, we discuss Captain America, Brave New World.
Screenplay by Aldous Huxley.
Welcome to the Flophouse. I'm Dan McCoy.
Oh, hey, Dan McCoy. It's me, Stuart Wellington.
Hey, Dan and Stuart, it's Elliot Kalin. Who's got the smoothest radio voice?
Oh,
I don't know. You're in trouble, Elliot.
I didn't know we were doing this.
Yeah, Dan's going to
beat.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a race to the bottom for me and Dan. Bottom being the deepest voice. Elliot, there's no way you can compete.
I don't know about that.
Oh, we got a real, we got a bridge troll just wandered in.
Which one of you Billy Goats is going to be my dinner?
Quick, trick him. Give him some riddles to solve.
This is, of course, a Bridge Troll podcast. Mm-hmm. No, it's a podcast where we watch a bad movie and then we talk about it. How do we define bad? Well, a movie that was either rejected by audiences or critics or both. This one...
Or Dan was at the bus stop and somebody was like, this movie stinks. And you're like, Jay Sherman from The Critic is taking the same bus as me?
This animated character from a canceled show from 20 years ago? Or it's 30 years ago. Yeah.
Okay, sir, I will do the show the movie you want me to on my podcast if you stop harassing me.
I mean, he would have crushed as a podcast host.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, well, I mean... all that unfettered negativity, sure.
Oh yeah.
We try to be nice, even though we're a little bit.
Do we try to be
negative?
Nice?
I think so.
I think we don't have to try, Elliot. It comes naturally.
Yeah, I think we try not to be as mean as we could be.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in this
world, that means
wicked
nice.
world, that's nice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If you don't actively kick a stranger as you pass by them, you're a nice man in this world. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We watched Captain America, Brave New World. Other than, at this point, Thunderbolts, the most recent Marvel Cinematic Universe
There's
movie.
another one coming out.
Yeah. First Steps, Fantastic Four, First Steps in a couple of weeks.
And probably, I'm going to go out on a limb. I think there's going to be another one after that.
Yeah, I think there's going to be at least one more, and it's going to have 400 actors in it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's bad when they're like, we got to figure out how to promote the Marvel movies because the gas is kind of running out on them. I know. We'll just list the names of the 1,000 people who are in it. It's like, I don't know if that's going to do it anymore, guys. I don't know if just shoveling in mounds and mounds of actors into the movie like coal into a train hopper is gonna do it. But maybe I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So Captain America, Brave New World. This is the 35th movie.
Wow.
In the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
35th. Some would say that's more than they should have, but maybe not me. I don't know. But you guys, I had a question for you.
Elliot, you're a Marvel zombie, right? You're familiar with the Marvel
I was
universe?
a Marvel zombie. When it comes to the comics, I am still a Marvel zombie. But I feel like my whatever loyalty I had to the MCU as like a fan who's excited about things has the ember. It's just embers now.
Dan, you're a Fantagraphics zombie, right?
Comics wise, yes, I am a Fantagraphics zombie, but. In terms of the MCU, I've stuck with it longer than Elliot. Maybe because I didn't have, the runway of knowing these characters before, so it didn't tire me out as quickly.
And Stuart, you're more of a Veronica zombie, right? Like whatever Glenn Danzig's involved with.
Right. Yeah. I'm like, I like to walk that thin line between horror and pleasure.
So, Dan, here's the question I had for you. Exactly that. So I feel like, is it because I feel there's two kinds of Marvel zombie fans when it comes to the movies. The ones who are diehard, I love these characters and I've got to support them no matter what. And the ones like me who are like, I kind of already have an outlet for this, which is comic books.
Yeah.
Dan, since you're not as tied to the comics, how are you feeling about the Marvel Cinematic Universe at this stage?
It's definitely my enthusiasm, which was unflagging.
It was an enthusiasm for a long time.
Yeah. Even during some of the, post Infinity War downtime, I still was like, oh, yeah, but, these are still fun enough. This one was the one that really, between this and Quantum Mania, I think they were the two ones that really tried my patience the most.
Yeah,
I mean, wait, are we going with our least favorite Marvel movie so far? Because you didn't mention my least favorite.
What's that?
Love and Thunder, Thor: Love and Thunder.
I still
hate
have not
it
watched
so
that.
much.
I still haven't watched. I think I've talked about this on the podcast in the past that a couple years ago I was in a very deep depression, and I was like, "What movie am I going to watch while I do the dishes?" Thor: Love and Thunder is on Disney Plus. I guess I have to watch that. And then I was like, "No, wait, I'm not going to watch it. I'm going to watch this foreign movie that I've never heard of that I DVR'd just on a whim." And that movie was amazing. And I was like, I'm like, I'm not looking back. I'm never watching Love and Thunder. I don't need it, you know. And Stuart, your dislike
that
of it
foreign
only
movie
reinforces
was
that.
what, like Mr. Bean's Thanksgiving or something?
Yeah, Mr. Bean's Thanksgiving.
What was your
It was called El Sur. It was a Spanish movie called El
Oh
Sur.
yeah.
Yeah.
You talked about that.
What was your, well, in a nutshell, your Love and Thunder issues? Let's hash it out briefly.
Was it the
here,
Love or the
since we're
Thunder?
never gonna. Yeah, which
Which
one
aspect?
was
I would say it.
Or
took
fans, write in
the-
and let us know if you want us to cover Thor: Love and Thunder. But Stuart, tell us. Yeah, give us a preview.
I mean, I feel like it. There's some bright spots. I like Christian Bale. But I feel like it took the kind of like goofiness of some of the previous specifically the last Taika Waititi one,
Ragnarok.
and it just kind of like dialed the goofiness up. I don't think the jokes worked as well. It felt kind of lazy and thrown together very quickly, which is and or edited to pieces, which is part of the problem with this one. And it felt like a filmmaker who was stretched a little too thin, which is I think based on his body of work, true.
Just because Taika Waititi had signed on to roughly 7 dozen projects at that time, and remember there was the interview that made Marvel fans mad, where Taika Waititi was like, "Oh yeah, I did the Thor movies for money. I needed money at the time," and people were like, "What? It wasn't for love of Thor?" It was like, I think there's a one of the things that I still find hilarious that they still have to do is when the people making these movies have to pretend that they've always been fans of these characters and they think they're super cool, or like, "Oh yeah, I read the comic books they're based on, and there's such amazing depth in the character of Sidewinder," you know. But it's anyway, we'll get into that. Dan, so Captain America: Brave New World. Had you seen Falcon and Winter Soldier, the TV
I had
show?
seen Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I
I
had
did
not
not.
That's the
seen
show that should have been an email, right?
You know what? I did not hate it as much as a lot of people did. It's not my
fine.
least favorite of those things either.
Well,
but
what's your least favorite of those things?
oh god,
There's a lot of us like vague booking here.
Yeah. What is it?
I can't. You know, the one. Look, I know that it was like more creative, and thus I should be fond of it for its ambition. But I just couldn't make it through Moon Knight because I was like,
Oh, I didn't
"What
watch
the
that.
hell is happening here?" Like at a certain point.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. But
Because I didn't see Falcon and Winter Soldier, and so when Bucky Barnes, who I associate more with the fact that he until recently was a brainwashed Soviet assassin, when he showed up as a congressional candidate, and another character was like, "Oh, future Congressman Buckworth J.
love
Barnes,"
it.
or whatever, I
I
was like,
love it.
"What the fuck? Like, what is going on in the Marvel universe?
there's
the president's
something
the
kind of-
Hulk, and Bucky's running for Congress? Like, what is
There's
this?"
something kind of amazing about like Bucky as elder statesman of the Marvel universe currently. Like, I don't know.
It's,
I mean,
it's
which
the
works
kind of
well
thing,
in Thunderbolts.
It
But,
works very well in Thunderbolts.
I mean, it's the kind of thing that should happen kind of naturally, organically, because Captain America is an elder statesman character. Bucky pass on some of that. He's been in a lot of the movies for a while. I haven't seen Thunderbolts yet, so I don't know about. But the idea of him it was more the idea of him as a congressman. I think that really threw me.
That's the best
as
part.
people have pointed out online, it should be like, "Wait, didn't you kill JFK?" It's like, well, yeah, sure, but I also helped unsnap a bunch of people, so you know.
He's got a metal arm, dude.
He does have a metal.
does have a metal
that was
arm,
on his campaign posters. I've got a metal arm, dude,
Guys,
and he's
speak-
pointing
arms.
it to you.
Yeah.
It's like,
Speaking
yeah.
of this,
I
let's
want
get into
you
this
to look at
movie.
my metal arm. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's drawn all super cool with a lot of lines on it, like Rob Layfield would draw it.
Oh, I imagine
okay.
it's like he got Boris Vallejo to do it, and it's all shiny and
Ooh,
ripped. Yeah,
and
Julie
a couple
Bell?
of naked
Julie
women
Bell.
are.
Of course.
hanging
Yeah,
off of
Dan.
it?
He's going for the Manosphere vote. Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Okay, so Captain America: Brave New World. Now, for some reason, I watched this on Disney Plus, and I didn't see the opening, like traditional opening Marvel logo. Did I just miss it? Was I like looking at my phone?
To be honest, I hit that 10-second skip button through the production
Oh,
logos, so
okay.
I don't. So I didn't recognize that. But I figured Stewart never stays for the end credit scene. I don't have to look at the production logos. That's our thing now.
That's your cool new thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so movie opens. Thaddeus Ross. Thaddeus what? Thunderbolt Ross.
Thunderbolt Ross. Yeah.
Is now president of the United States of America.
And
now
he's looking a little different.
he's looking a little bit different. The snap changed him.
Well,
Yeah.
okay. So here, let's just pull the curtain back. This is a different actor playing
Yeah, William
Thunderbolt
Hurt
Ross.
passed
And
away.
William Hurt passed away, and Harrison Ford took the role. And I got to say, I like that more than if they had an AI CGI William Hurt, walking around.
I mean, I honestly like this is a weird thing to say because I love Harrison Ford and I am usually very excited to see him in things. But I did miss William Hurt in this role. I feel like William Hurt brings it's like a slightly different energy than Harrison
I agree.
Ford
Well, I think
brings.
Harrison Ford, I think he's by far the MVP of this movie. But I feel like he does.
Tim Blake Nelson, dude.
Tim, I wish they'd just given Tim Blake Nelson more to do. He just walks around and stares
Yeah,
at
that's
people.
the problem with him.
So but William Hurt brings a certain slight over the topness to his Thunderbolt Ross, and I wish Harrison Ford doesn't really do that. Harrison Ford doesn't do that kind of like this is just a little bigger than it needs to be. But anyway, yeah. So he's the president of the United States now. The guy never mind. They elected him president even after he destroyed part of an American city. But whatever. It's in today's world.
We
that's,
can't.
See
We
Bucky
should not
Barnes.
be allowed
Yeah.
to say anything predicting, saying what can and can't get you elected because we've said things on the podcast before and we've been proven wrong.
That's true. That's very true. Well, I think one of the weird things about this movie is that and people at the time when it came out, they commented on this, that it feels like a movie from a slightly earlier political age where the message of we may disagree, but we have to figure out how to get along still seemed kind of like a valid way to live, as opposed to now where it's like,
Yes.
I don't really need to agree to disagree with the guy who's sending masked gunmen to pull citizens off the street and airlift
Yes.
them to foreign jails. There's no, and the idea that and this people said this in the reviews that it's actually it would be great if the president just broke some buildings in Washington D.C. and didn't do more.
Yeah.
He's a far less destructive president than the one
He's
we have
a
when he hulks out.
warmonger and a monster, but he's not that bad.
Yeah, you
We've had Warmonger.
Warmonger Gaunt. I mean,
Gondelman?
Warmonger Gaunt sounds like a great fantasy character.
Yeah.
just take the Hulk pills away from him, and he'll be fine.
Uh-huh.
No,
Or
Dan, he has
give him more.
he has a vague heart condition that can only be cured through Hulk pills.
Okay.
Okay, so he is the president 5 months later. 5 months later, Captain America and his new Falcon sidekick, Joaquin Torres, right?
Yeah.
They are sent on a mission to Oaxaca to stop the sale of some classified material that was stolen by the organization called Serpent and their lead bad guy Sidewinder. Are these comic book guys?
These are, so here's this was a reshoot thing. So Serpent is a nod to the Serpent Society, which is a group of Captain America villains that are all snake themed, and they all have snake costumes. They all have different snake powers. And during
Did Cobra sue about this, or
they predate Cobra, I believe,
Okay.
Daniel. But the idea behind them, I'm trying to remember.
Wait, the health insurance?
yeah.
Oh no, they don't predate that. Yeah, I can't remember if they started during Mark Gruenwald's run or not. But Mark Gruenwald, who wrote Captain America for 10 years, and his run is really fun. It's got Cap Wolf in it when Captain America becomes a werewolf. It's
Hell
got
yeah.
all the John Walker U.S. agent stuff that Falcon and the Winter Soldier was about. He's like, there's all these snake-based villains. Let's get them into one group, and they'll treat it like it's a labor union or a business syndicate for villains. Like, they each get a cut. They get
great.
health insurance through it, and Sidewinder is the guy who runs it. But they all wear their snake costumes all the time. It's great. And one of the things that's disappointing to me about this movie is that it feels like it feels a lot like it is the 90s direct-to-video sequel to a big-budget action movie. And part of that is that the characters are rarely in costume or doing costume things. The villains, instead of being colorful, costumed characters, are instead just kind of like randos in body armor with guns. And they originally, I guess, had the characters Diamondback and another one, these Serpent Society characters, and then cut them entirely out of the movie. That they literally shot those scenes and then cut them out. And I think they were trying to maybe de-sillify the Serpent Society, but it's like, why not?
Make
Why
him
are we doing
sillier.
this? Why are we bothering
Giancarlo
to make these
Esposito
movies?
would have
if not?
loved to have been in a cool snake costume.
I think so, and he would have done a great job with it. And he could have looked like the Snake Man in that anti-drug ad from when I was a kid that was so scary, where the drug dealer turns into like a weird Snake Man at the end. But it's one of those things where I think when the Marvel Universe was at its best, it was like, let's take the things that happen in the comics and that they do in the comics that in earlier movies would have deemed too silly. Let's just have them do them. Like, let's just have them do it. And here, it feels like they're back in the old ways of like running away from that. The Serpent Society, have them dress up as snakes, give them snake powers. Why not? Where else can you get that? Nowhere.
Well, I mean, one of the problems with this movie in particular is it has such a like dour and serious tone, and I think they're trying to recapture the Winter Soldier tone of like, oh, this is really a political,
this is serious
movie. And
but part of
I
what
wonder,
makes that fun is that you, in the middle of this serious thing, you have Captain America and Bucky running around and doing stuff.
Yeah, well, and then there's like some fun, like they're not really like mismatched per se, but there's like some buddy comedy stuff with Captain America and Black Widow. Like, I wonder whether
and the introduction of Sam Wilson.
Some of it is like response to people getting mad about like, oh, like these movies got so quippy or whatever, but like
it's still quippy though. Like it's still a
character
quippy
comedy is like the good stuff. You don't have to run away from like, I don't know.
What's also like the characters. Part of the issue I had with this movie, this is a larger thing, and I know we haven't talked too much about it. Sam Wilson and Joaquin Torres, they don't really have much personality. Sam Wilson takes everything seriously and he feels a lot of pressure. Joaquin Torres is like, he's the young guy who wants to be a hero, and he's a little bit looser
hot dog,
and quippy. He's a hot dogger. But other than that, they don't have much. And it's not till the very end of the movie that Anthony Mackie gets to give that speech about, when I'm wearing this, I feel the pressure of everybody else who worked so hard to get me to this place. I can't let them down. And I was like, that's the subtext running throughout. And I'm like, have him say that at the very beginning of the movie, and then give him a little bit more personality. But instead, they play it so like serious boilerplate kind of action movie guy that I feel like I was the whole time I was like, I don't know what Falcon's personality is. Like, I don't know who he is as a character.
I've liked Mackie a lot in this part, but now that he's in the main role rather than a supporting role, they haven't developed like the next level of character.
What that means for him.
My favorite moments for him are when where they give him a chance to like reveal that like, he's just a regular dude. Where he's like, man, I wish I fucking took that stupid super serum.
It was also
like,
this is the
that
most
kind of stuff's funnier.
Does this movie set the record for the number of times they say shit in a Marvel movie? It felt like every other line was like, oh shit, oh shit, oh that's some bullshit, and it was like, I was like,
listeners, right
in. Somebody tally it up. Send it in.
I think you were watching the shit cut, Elliot.
Oh, that was it. I did look up the Falcon. Did you guys see the scene where they were just rolling around and shit? Or was that not the one that was? I didn't see. You know what? Now I didn't watch it on Disney Plus. I watched it on shitfetish.com. Was that a problem?
Wow, that's a very specific name.
Yeah,
I did not try to obfuscate it at all.
I googled Captain America Brave New World streaming, and that's the first link that came up, and it looked really cheap. The costumes didn't look on model.
Brave Poop World.
You should have.
You know what? It did say, did you mean Captain America Brave Poop World? And I said, I guess that's what it's called. Yeah.
You got to make sure that the links you click aren't promoted, Elliot, because Google's just doing wild shit.
Google AI said, I think you'll want this. And the whole time I was watching, I was like, I don't want this. This isn't what I like. But
okay,
I guess I'll watch all 4 hours of it. You guys, it was 4 hours long, right? It was 4 hours of just poop play? Yeah, okay.
So Captain America arrives. So we're still starting here. This opening sequence.
We don't even have to talk about how weird it is that our American heroes are operating on Mexican soil to deal with this issue.
Yeah.
And that so he arrives. He like beats up a bunch of baddies. He fights like a bigger baddie and beats him up. Meanwhile,
this bigger baddie. This was not fun, and it was unimpressive and boring, right?
Yeah.
Like it was this is when you need a guy with a superpower, like a snake-based superpower for Falcon to go up against, instead of a guy who's just slightly larger than Falcon. Like he wasn't even that big a guy, but
other than like being excited to be fighting him. And by Falcon you mean Captain America.
Oh, sorry, Captain America. I apologize.
I will say I continue to be disappointed at how much I know this is the way of the future, everything, but like the way his wings and his mask like zip on and off digitally, like it just looks kind of lame.
What I read was that apparently Anthony Mackie had a lot of trouble with the mask he had to wear in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and he was like, "You got to you can't put me in that again." Which I understand, I get it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I agree that like the digital wings and everything, they just kind of look, meh. I don't know.
It's hard. It's hard to be excited about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I will say I was less excited about this fight than I was about Carrie Elways fighting Andre the Giant in The Princess Bride, which is a great fight scene where a guy is up against a much bigger guy. So like they needed to bring some of that into this scene, I feel like.
Yeah. So you should have had him fight like a human legend like Andre the Giant.
Yeah, if you can find another one, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I like you said human legend as if he was going to fight like a legendary dog. A legendary
Maybe.
crocodile.
Cerberus is going to be there, and he's going to fight
Cerberus.
Cerberus. Sorry.
Cerberus.
Not
is an aardvark.
Cerebus. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
an aardvark.
He's a legendary
but he can
aardvark.
fight. He can fight.
He's
Yeah,
a
he
great
can.
fighter. He's got some controversial opinions about women. I know, Dan, you agree with him, but
No.
Yes. Okay, so they succeed, but Sidewinder escapes. They manage to get this material. They head back. He introduces Joaquin to his friend Isaiah Bradley, who is the original Captain America, who was a soldier in what, World War I or II?
No, World War II. So it's World War II also, but this is a character where the idea. This is from a comic called The Truth, I think it was that Marvel did years ago, where the idea was much like the Tuskegee experiments and things like that. That before they used the super soldier on a white person, they would have tested it out on black soldiers. And so there's this black Captain America, Isaiah Bradley, who received it first, and because he was a black man, was then mistreated by the government and things like
Yeah.
that. So I like that they're bringing this character in. I guess maybe he was in Winter Soldier, the TV show, also. I don't know.
Yeah, he
Yes,
was.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I mean,
he brings some interest, like he adds a perspective and a genuine distrust for the U.S. government.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the character and the actor are great. In the movie, it's another place where the film feels like terribly wishy-washy in this like moment where it's like at the end where Captain America is like arguing like why he still like puts on the suit and, you know, represents America. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, it seems like there's been a lot of mistreatment here that would be hard to forgive. I don't know.
So they are invited to the White House, Captain America and Falcon, for their work in Oaxaca, and he insists
Oaxaca work, yeah.
that Isaiah come along with them. And despite his initial reservations, Isaiah agrees to go along. They get all dressed up. They take a limo. They talk about riding in a limo and being dressed up. They arrive at the White House for this
They talk about it for a while. Stuart makes it seem like that's just Stuart's just bringing it up as a joke. They spend a lot of time in that limo
He's got a
talking
great
about, look at your suit, man. Oh, hey, we're in a limo
houndstooth
right now.
suit. Yeah.
It's a nice jacket. So they arrive
You
at the
don't
White
wear it
House.
to the White House.
If you
I
got
mean,
style, you do.
Yeah.
I guess true. That's a good point.
So they arrive at the White House. There's initially some conversation that I thought was just, like tossed off jokes where Isaiah's having trouble working his phone. But it turns out that's a plot point.
Yeah.
Captain meets with President Ross, who suggests that they put aside their past differences and Captain America restart the Avengers. And it's this like, hey, let's build bridges and move forward. Then the president gives an address where he's talking all about the giant dead Eternal that appeared at the end of Eternals. My mistake.
You're like, I thought that was never going to be mentioned again, but I guess
I
not.
was
They're
kind
gonna-
of excited to see that.
Because it's their way to get an even more important thing into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And what is that? What is that miracle mineral?
Adamantium.
Adamantium, and you know all the comic fans ejaculated when they heard that word because they know Wolverine's going to show up at some point. Not in this movie, but eventually.
Not in
you know.
this movie. Sometime.
He is too busy being in the highest-grossing R-rated comedy of all time.
Yeah.
Shortly after this, yeah.
Was
it
is
before
that
this?
The Hangover 5?
Exactly. No, it's the Music Man on Broadway, the filmed version of it.
Oh, wow, that's R-rated.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now I'm interested in seeing it.
Yeah. They updated it for modern times, so it's much grittier. There's a lot more nudity.
Most shits you'll ever hear on Broadway.
You know what? I might have been watching the Poozic
poster.
Man, which was on the same website we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. Okay, so
We got trouble. And that starts with a T, and that rhymes with P, and that stands for poop. And then it's just shit play from that point on.
I'm gonna I'm going to put a child protection on your laptop, Elliot.
I think that's a good idea.
I'm worried about you.
So so in the middle of this, we also learned that the thing that was recovered in Oaxaca that was up for sale, the classified material, was actually some of that adamantium that I believe belonged to the Japanese and was stolen by Serpent.
So this movie it's trying to be mature and intelligent in making itself about international tension between America and Japan over the ownership of adamantium and this treaty that will share adamantium with all the world that the president has.
Because this thing appeared in the Indian Ocean, and all the nations that are nearby are trying to race so that they can exploit this giant alien core.
Stronger than vibranium.
Yeah, and there's two things I want to bring up about this. One is the movie, now the rest of the movie, Ross just keeps going, my treaty. Oh, but my treaty. We've got to sign this treaty. And it's ridiculous how often he's always talking about this treaty. And the other thing is, too, clearly, this should be about tension between America and China. But they do not want to insult the China. They want to make sure that this movie can play in Chinese theaters. And so they make it Japan instead. And the idea that America and Japan are racing for this thing in the Indian Ocean and China is just kicking back being like, I don't need it. I don't need to extend my control over the oceans around my country. No, you guys handle it, is bonkers. It's ridiculous. You know, it's similar to that Red Dawn remake we did years ago, where I think it was supposed to be China invading the United States, and then they were like, but we might want this to play in China because there's a lot of money there. So they made it North Korea instead. And the idea that North Korea could land an invasion army in the United States and start taking over the country is ludicrous. So so it just was very it felt very cynical and also kind of like
it does have hoes in different area codes.
North Korea.
Who does?
Ludicrous.
Ludicrous. That's true.
Oh, okay.
But this was one where it felt like, I assume it was in order to not annoy the Chinese government so that they could keep sending movies to China. But it meant that this movie was attempting to do like kind of a smart thing about international politics, but in a very kind of dumb way.
Yeah. It's dumb, and it is weird. So in the middle,
they're on the poster.
Yeah, so in the middle of this summit,
dumb, ... weird. Stuart Wellington, the Flophouse.
In the middle,
they
of,
lips out and all right.
Yeah. So they in the middle of this summit, we hear some strains of a strange song playing, and all of a sudden, Isaiah Bradley and two other men whip out guns and just start blasting. The president luckily survives, and Isaiah Bradley goes on the lam. He runs across, the various parts of Washington, D.C. before Sam convinces him to give up. They're surrounded, and Isaiah is taken into custody. He is obviously confused as to what happened. It's almost like he was brainwashed.
Almost. So this movie is Mr. Blue, as performed by the Fleetwoods. There's another blue-based song they could have used, guys.
Yeah, what's that? How's that go? Is there like a melody?
Just to give a dramatic reading of it, it goes, I'm blue, dabu-dee, dabu-die, dabu-dee, dabu-die, dabu-dee, dabu-die. And I was very disappointed that they didn't go with that.
Is that the first chorus, or is that the chorus, or
that's
one of the
verses? That's pretty much that's the chorus. That's most of the song. I mean, it does open with a spoken word intro about how this is a song about a blue guy who lives in a blue world and everything is blue.
Yeah. I also want to say, like, obviously, Thunderbolt Ross is not the most level-headed and reasonable of men.
No.
But I do find it kind of odd that in this world where we know about the Winter Soldier, again, bringing him up again, and how he was triggered to do assassinations, that there is so much like confusion around the idea that like Isaiah might have had the same thing happen to him, and so much
in a world of
disbelief
magic powers.
Yeah,
yeah. Well, there's I would point you, Dan. There's a great issue of Astro City that's about a lawyer who gets his client, a gangster, off of charges because he's arguing, how do we know it wasn't a duplicate from another dimension? How do we know it wasn't a clone in this superhero world we live in? And it's a good, you should use that argument, Dan, when you're defending somebody in the superhero universe. Yeah.
Why did he not wear his magical amulet that grants him superhuman strength and powers? That's my favorite line from the recent Daredevil show when he's defending a vigilante.
And why doesn't he just eat Ross, the largest friend?
So it's around here. So in the confusion, so obviously Isaiah Bradley at this point is sentenced to potentially he might be on trial with the death penalty. They're seeking the death penalty for attempted assassination.
They keep saying they are going for the death penalty. Can you get the death penalty for an attempted murder? If you fail
I mean, in today's America, probably.
Maybe.
I don't know what
It just kept sticking out to me. I'm like, I don't know if I've ever heard of the death penalty for someone who failed to kill somebody else. Like,
yeah.
But anyway.
It's around now where we're introduced to Ross's head of security, Ruth Bat Saraf, a very tiny woman who was apparently trained in the Red Rooms with the Black Widows. And so she is a character that, from my understanding, was edited and cut down quite a bit.
Yes. In the comic books, she is a character named Sabra, who is kind of the Israeli national superhero. And when they first started putting this movie together, I'm not sure why they chose her as a character to be in it, but there was a firestorm on both sides of the pro and anti-Israeli, pro and anti-Gaza thing. Yeah. They stepped into a controversy of Snow White proportions around it. And I think their reaction to that was to, instead of making her an Israeli superhero, making her an Israeli-born employee of the United States government who is a former Black Widow, as opposed to someone with strong ties to Israel. But I always love the name Bat Saraf because it sounds like it's like if Batman was an angel.
I mean, like as someone,
it's basically Azrael, right?
Yeah, I guess that is Azrael. Yeah.
Outside of outside of that world, I was not like my initial association with Bat is not like, oh yeah, this is like a Jewish name. It is the Bat, and it was like, it was only on rewatch. I'm like, oh, of course, yes, of course, right. there's no Bat element in this.
You kept waiting for her to turn into a bat. You're like, a falcon and a bat. It makes perfect sense. They're both flyers. Yeah. No.
I mean, if she turned morphed into a Bat character, that would have been great.
Amazing.
That would have been fantastic. This. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, what are you gonna say, Dan?
Well, just no. I understand why in this world things were changed about this character, just as a matter of the actress performing it. This is a fun character, I think, to me in this movie that doesn't have a lot of fun stuff.
She's all right. This is Shira Haas, is the actress who you may remember her from the show Steitzel, which was my in-laws' favorite show for a while.
Can you tell us a little bit about the show?
It's an Israeli show about Jews. It's about Orthodox Jews, and my in-laws really loved it. They're watching all the time. Oh, and that's right, and she was in Unorthodox, the Netflix show.
That's what I remember.
Yeah. Okay. That's what you would know her from, is from Unorthodox, another show about Orthodox Jews. What was I going to say? But they kind of solved the problem she's a fun performer in this, but they also don't give her that much to do. There's not a lot of personality in this character aside from she seems like she's going to be tough as nails. Yeah. But then she's got a sense of humor,
Yeah, she's initially introduced as potentially a foil, but then she becomes an ally. Okay, so
an alloy.
Sam goes to...
Foil is an alloy.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on what it's made out of.
Sam goes to visit Isaiah in jail, and he continues his investigations. While he's driving around, he gets ambushed by Sidewinder. His car gets blown up, and then he beats up Sidewinder and wins because, it's Giancarlo Esposito. Great actor. I don't quite buy him as as physically tough as Captain America.
At least in Electric State, they gave him a robot body to be working through. But the idea that, even if Captain America doesn't have the super soldier serum, he's still got to be at least 15 years younger than Giancarlo Esposito, right? It feels weird to have an older gentleman as the big physical one.
Now, if they put him in a snake suit, maybe snake suit.
Of course, if he has snake powers, then of course, then it's a totally different story.
Now, what are snake powers? Let's dig into this.
So
squeezing,
mesmerize people.
There's a lot of different kinds of snake powers. Okay. So I think this Sidewinder, he could teleport. I think. Let's see.
That's a snake power?
Yeah.
That's
I'm terrified now. There's going to be snakes in my shower.
Snakes could just show up anywhere, Dan. That's why you got to always check your shoes when you wake up in the morning. But what other snake? Not all of them had snake powers, because Diamondback's powers
were
constrictor,
right?
Yeah, there's which one is it? Is it King Cobra? I think there's Black Mamba, King Cobra, Asp. They all have different They can bite people. They can squeeze people.
I
forget
can
if
bite
it's.
people, Elliot.
I forget if
Can
it's
you
King.
squeeze
I'll
people?
do it right now.
I forget if it's King Cobra, the one who has a snake body. One of them has like a bionic from the waist down. He's just a huge snake,
Hell yeah.
But like Diamondback, who became Captain America's girlfriend for a little bit, she just kind of throws diamonds and jumps around. She's a real Black Widow, Elektra type character.
We talk about all these body modifications, right? Where like people are
bod
getting
mods.
calf extensions and things. How come nobody's just turned their lower half of their body into a snake body?
Calf extension.
There was a guy for a long.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be more like a dress. There was a
You
guy
haven't-
who was
you
trying.
haven't seen Materialist yet, Dan?
There was
They
a
get
guy.
extensions
Yeah.
for longer calves.
Well, to be
Yeah,
taller.
Dan.
Heightening surgery, yeah.
They
You
can
didn't
do this?
hear about this? Yeah. You can get like up to 6 inches.
Oh,
So
God.
Anthony
I
Mackie
didn't
is,
know about this.
is 11 years younger than Giancarlo Esposito. So that's not super
Okay,
crazy.
I guess it's within the realm of possibility that they'd be evenly matched
Yes.
in a fight.
But even without the super soldier serum, I still believe that Anthony Mackie is that Giancarlo Esposito is not the athletic match.
I
for
mean, I
Anthony
think the
Mackie.
main thing is that Giancarlo Esposito had, some weapons, some guns.
He did have
that
some
he was
weapons.
shooting at.
And they're like, here's
an
my
unarmed
secret
man
weapon,
with-
a big gun weapon.
Yeah.
Now, if his gun shot snakes,
Yeah, there you
Again,
go.
that would be
But they
so
can
much
teleport,
better.
so-
Or if he threw a grenade and a bunch of snakes jumped out at you. I mean, you know who knew this?
damn it.
You know who knew the power of throwing a snake at somebody? Moses. It worked then. It would work
Uh-huh.
now. Throw
Or
a
if you
snake at somebody.
Threw
Yeah.
some peanut brittle at him and had the snakes burst out of that peanut brittle.
Real
Yeah.
snakes, though. That thing, real snakes
Yeah.
burst out of it. Yeah. Wait,
Yeah, throw it. It's like, here's a snack. Captain America, and Captain America's like,
It's not a
actually, I'm
hostess
pretty
pie,
hungry.
Thanks.
Hello.
I
so
could,
might
I
as
could
well-
use some energy
Yeah.
in the middle of this battle. I appreciate it. Ah, snakes.
Okay, so they trace the last number that Sidewinder called to a US, like a CIA black site called Camp Echo 1. That's kind of in the middle of nowhere. Cap immediately recognized this as
If you call
this
West
as what it
Virginia the
is.
middle of nowhere, which I would
Yeah.
be, if I was a McElroy, I'd be pretty insulted, Stu.
I mean, they try to play it up like the reason why he knows it is what it is because it's not near anything
That's true.
else.
Yeah.
So he and Joaquin head down to check this place out. Meanwhile, Ross is what, flying around. He's talking to
In
his
a plane.
assistants.
He's going back and
Clear.
forth between here and Japan, trying to get the Japanese prime minister to sign on to this treaty.
Yeah.
Because if Japan doesn't sign on, then India and France will not sign on. I think it is, and he needs this treaty. This treaty. We owe it to the world for this treaty. The treaty that will say that they will all share the adamantium. No country will have a monopoly on adamantium. Yeah.
He also places a call to the prison that we'll later learn is Camp
Camp
Echo
Echo
1.
1.
And he's talking to the warden about whether or not their prisoner is still contained. And the warden's like, yes, of course. I'm looking at him right now. And it's revealed that he is just looking at a wall, that something fishy is going on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Captain America and Falcon investigate Camp Echo 1. They meet
They get
the
into
real
it
bad guy.
really easy. They break
Super
in
easy.
very easily. Yeah.
They notice that they find a whole bunch of evidence. It's like an evidence dungeon down there with a bunch of
evidence
pictures on the wall.
computers, yeah.
And one of the bits of evidence ties what's going on to President Ross. And there's some weird pills, the same pills that Ross has been chomping down like Tic Tacs.
So this bad guy is very sloppily organized because he's literally just left the president's medical files just out on the desk, and he doesn't need them at that moment. This is a plan that's been going on for years. He should have filed them at this point.
Yeah. Especially because we learn that this is Samuel Stearns, the leader. Is that the character?
Yeah.
Yes,
You may-
in the comics, he's the leader. They never
You may,
call
of
him
course,
that in the movies, but they should.
recall him from everyone's favorite MCU movie,
Oh, brother, where art thou?
The Incredible Hulk.
Ballad of Buster
starring
Scruggs.
Everyone, the character the actor everyone remembers as the Hulk, Edward Norton. Tim Blake Nelson
And everybody who the actor everybody remembers from General Ross, William
Yeah.
Hurt.
Yeah.
doesn't even become the leader until the end of that movie. The Abomination is the main villain in that.
So they're paying off something that was put in
the first Marvel
years and
movie.
years ago. Yeah. So that's just good. That's just good filmmaking. I
Yeah.
mean, they planted that seed. So yeah. So he's they don't call him the leader, but he is the leader, and
What's
Yeah.
his powers in the comic book?
he's just super
Smartness.
intelligent. He has a gamma infused brain, and
Yeah,
that's
he's got a big old dome.
and that's why he's the Hulk's villain. The Hulk gamma made him strong but savage and dumb. It made the leader incredibly brilliant and also scheming and cunning. And so he's just super smart. And in the comics, his head like expands like a kind of like a. In the old comics, his forehead just gets super tall. He's just got a very tall head with a huge forehead.
Yep.
Around the time in the 80s when Todd McFarlane was drawing him in the Hulk, his head started expanding in all directions like
awesome,
a Jiffy Pop dome. And he looks
looked
great.
awesome.
He's got a mustache. I love it. And here, originally, I guess his look was more in keeping with the comics, but then I think people didn't like it, so they changed it to now he's got, it looks like
It's
his head is just
kind
kind
of green and puffy.
He's got
green
like a
and
lumpy
bubbly.
head, yeah.
Yeah, and his eyes are all weird, and he
Now-
doesn't have a mustache.
I want to address something you said just a moment ago about like him having these files just laid out. Now, I guess the idea for a lot of this is, the leader, again, his power, extreme smartness. He can predict like what's going to happen.
So they stole from a different Marvel character, the Mad Thinker. The Mad Thinker is the one who's always like, there's a 95% chance that you will come through that door right now, and then a trap is operated or whatever. And so they have him talking about probabilities and calculations. That's a Mad Thinker thing.
Okay.
That's okay. They can give it to the leader. That's fine.
But I assume
I'm not mad
that,
about it, but the Mad Thinker
Okay.
is. It's in his name.
I assume that part of the idea is that like these are all breadcrumbs. This is all
He's
part
setting
of his
them up. Yeah.
plan, which is a trope that I really have grown to dislike because it's just if like 90% of your movie is like the bad guy being like, I knew exactly what you were going to do, and like I've led you here this whole time. It makes it.
You've
and
played into my hands every step of the way, Captain
makes
America.
it-
Time to open the box, Brad Pitt.
it makes it feel like everything else has been worthless, and also it makes it feel like, well, then how do you vanquish them at the end? Like he's been right about everything, but somehow miraculously you're right at the end. But also like in 7, something like that works better because it's a shocking reveal. Like normally I'm not in favor of shocking reveals. I believe in like the Hitchcock, like, well, we want to know the things up front so we can like have information that the characters maybe don't, that creates suspense. But I think if it's going to be like a mastermind, like telling a hero pretty early on in the movie, like, oh, I'm masterminding everything, then it takes the wins out of the movie's sales versus there is at least a little juice in like at the end of the movie, the shock of being like, oh my God, I've played into your hands all along. Like I thought I was doing the right thing, but it was wrong,
Well, I'd say there's two things I'll say to that, Dan. One, which I agree with you. Number one is 7 is just such a different type of movie that exists in a different world.
Yeah.
Like there's no justice and there's no heroes in 7, which I think is how it's a super bleak movie and how you can get away with it. And it's not like we don't have to worry about the continuing adventures of Brad and Morgan, in other movies. But I think also
I don't know, legacy sequel.
it's
Get 'em back
called
together.
8. It's called 8.
Yo, hell
They
yeah.
invented a new deadly sin, and now the killer is back from the dead.
We thought we figured out all the ways to sin. Turned out there was
There's
one
another
more.
one, doom
It's
scrolling.
really cool.
Yeah. Cybercrime.
D. Snyder's 7 Lands.
Oh, man, yeah. Oh, man, if it was
fear.7.
cybercrime, the fucking beekeeper would show up and beat the shit out of John Doe.
Sure, but I think also
Elliot, have you seen The Beekeeper yet?
I have not seen The Beekeeper yet.
Dude,
Maybe I'll
Elliot,
see
you gotta
it.
watch
Yeah,
The
go keep those
Beekeeper.
bees.
I guess you know what? I'm in the middle of Sinners. I guess I'll put a pause on that and I'll go watch
Hit
The
a pause.
Beekeeper instead.
Yeah. Well, you just got to time it right to a scene where they're looking at a television, and then you imagine that the characters are watching Beekeeper.
Yeah, there's a lot of television scenes
the
in
future.
Sinners. Yeah. Dan, but I think you're right that like if you're gonna pull off, oh, you were in my clutches the whole time, and now you've got to figure out a way to escape it. The stakes are so much higher for the filmmakers in making it like a surprise and also devastating, and then finding a way for the hero to do something the villain didn't expect. But here they just don't do it. They just kind of the villain just kind of starts getting bored at a certain point. But also he says, "Don't be boring" to someone at one point, which is my favorite line in the movie.
Yeah,
but
best
also
line.
it's also one of those times where he was like, "I knew you'd invite Isaiah Bradley to the White House, so I brainwashed him." And it's like, dude, if you didn't brainwash Isaiah Bradley, Captain America probably wouldn't have investigated this. You probably would have gotten away with it. But he was like, but I wanted you to investigate to increase the pressure on the president. It would have been easier if you just didn't. It reminds me of in Speed 2, when we did our Speed 2 show, where it was like, where Willem Dafoe is getting away with the jewels or whatever, and then takes Sandra Bullock with him. And I'm like, if you didn't do that, nobody would chase you. You just go. Like, why bother? You know,
Well, there's
Well, he likes
literally
the attention.
there's literally a part in this after
I'm
he
always
like
self-sabotaging. I
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
get caught.
He was the main character for a while, and he likes the spotlight.
Yeah.
there's a earlier part where Cap has beaten up Giancarlo Esposito, and then like the leader calls him to be like, "Good work," or like whatever, like just as I expected. It's like, dude, you know where a manipulator usually lurks? The shadows. It like it works better that way.
Well,
you
but
know?
I guess there is a feeling of like, if nobody knows, then what's the there's another Astro City issue about this I'll
Yeah.
point to, where this guy who's called the Toy Maker or Toy Box or something, he pulls off the greatest heist, and the problem is he's rich and he gets away with it, but nobody knows he did it, and so he goes back and deliberately gets caught so that people can know that he did it, and then he escapes again. But the idea that like how you want the notoriety, you want the reputation, which if they had built that into the leader, Samuel Stearns, I think that would have been great. I've been in this hole for decades for years because of Ross. I want people to know who I am. I want people to know the name Samuel Stearns, but they don't
Yeah.
do that. You know,
I made him what he was. I deserve credit for all that. Okay.
exactly.
So,
I'm the man who made Thunderbolt Ross, and I want people to know I'm the man who broke Thunderbolt Ross.
we have so there's a little bit of a scene with Cap, Falcon, and the leader just yapping at each other.
They do a
and
lot of
then-
talking. Yeah.
And then a whole bunch of soldiers that have been brainwashed show up, and we get a little bit of a battle. They try to, and in the carnage, the leader escapes. Camp and Falcon link up with Ruth Bat-Saraf, who initially is there to maybe take them into custody, but then she realized what's going on, and they team up to beat up a bunch of soldiers.
She uses her Black Widow training. Yeah.
Mhm.
How do you guys
Lots
feel
of flips.
about the
Lots of
fights in
flips.
this one? Did you enjoy any of the fights in this? I found them kind of like meh.
Yeah, not really. It was-
Yeah, I mean, I think this one was probably the scene where they're fighting in the
the hallway?
lab is. I think
Oh,
the
the
fight
lab.
in the lab was kind of the most interesting because
Yeah.
it felt the most like, oh no, they might actually get fucked up in this one.
Yeah, they're being hit with taser batons and things like that.
Yeah. Force batons.
I like
Guys,
when,
am
you know.
Am I losing my taste for like fight scenes? Is that what it is? I feel the last couple action movies we've seen where there's just kind of like fist fighting, I've been like, I don't know. And I already have lost my taste for gunfights to a certain extent. What's happening to me, guys?
Well, I think a lot of them that are done these days are pretty uninspired. I think that's a big part of it, especially with like big blockbusters do it worse than smaller movies where, you know, the emphasis is on, you know, fight choreography and stunts.
Yeah.
Like these are so, I don't know. It's just
I will say I did like the fights in Love Hurts more than the fights in this one. And I did
Yeah.
watch
Yeah.
Police Story again not too long ago, and the
Yeah,
fights in that are pretty amazing.
yes.
All right, maybe it's the movies, maybe it's not me. Yeah, maybe it's the pictures that got
It's
small.
pictures got small. Okay, so they, the three of them go to a military base where the soldiers that we had met in the initial Oaxaca incident are holding Sidewinder.
I want to point out one of the characters in here that
Mhm.
you don't get to see much of. One of the soldiers, they just call him Dunphy. And this is clearly Dennis Dunphy, the character of D-Man, one of my favorite D-list Marvel characters. He is a guy with super strength who always wants to be a hero. He was one of Captain America's sidekicks for a while, and he's just kind of a lovable lunk. And for a long time was a homeless character, like a homeless superhero. And I always wanted to write a D-Man series, and I never got the chance to. So just want to mention they bring
I feel
D-Man.
like
They don't do much with him, but you know.
D-Man is one of those characters that is talked about by like deep cut fans who are like, oh man, I would love to do. I feel like Marvel was constantly getting pitches from like weirdos, like weird comedy
Like Elliot.
writers who were like,
Like me,
I got this great idea. And they're like, another D-Man idea.
I pitched them a D-Man series at one point where he was going to be traveling around America, dealing with the city, going to the cities that other characters don't deal with. And the idea was that he goes to each of these cities and he finds that the small-time villains that are local to these areas are being pushed out by this kind of Walmart of bigger villains who realize if they hang around New York, they're going to get beat up by Thor. But if they go to Kansas City, it's not going to be as big a problem. And so he's got to deal with all these villains coming in and pushing out the local villains. And it would have been really fun.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so they, while they're there, they interrogate Sidewinder, who kind of gives a little bit of background on why he stole this stuff and yada, yada, yada. Meanwhile,
Once you capture somebody, they immediately will talk to you if you promise them something, which is what we're
Yeah,
learning. Once somebody is in a captive situation, they're happy to talk and just tell you stuff in this movie.
Especially with the sense of like, I'm going to tell you this, but I'm going to escape, and then I'm going to kill you, Captain America.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in the Indian Oceans, tensions have increased. Japan is heading to the Celestial, and the U.S. is, including President Ross, are en route to intercept them. They launch some fighters. Those fighters are brainwashed by the leader who has snuck into a house and is calling people with the house phone.
Yeah, he's somehow been able to figure out how to use a domestic phone to just kind of call fighter jets and
like the earpiece the president has.
He's a genius. He's a super genius. I'll buy it. I'll buy it. Yeah.
So
I wish he had kind of a machine he hooked up to the phone that allowed him to do this, but instead he's just talking into a regular landline phone. But whatever.
Yeah, if he had like some weird invention he made, like because he had plenty of time to make weird inventions.
That in E.T., Elliot makes a more interesting looking invention out of his toys, and a saw blade. But that's but that's E.T. That's also one of the greatest movies ever made. So it's unfair to compare this to that.
The brainwashed pilots attack the Japanese Navy. Japan retaliates. Cap and Falcon arrive and have to try and break this up. They got there pretty fast with their little suits, right? I feel like they got to the Indian Ocean
They
pretty
get
fast.
from West Virginia to the Indian Ocean pretty quickly. Yeah.
On what are essentially just like gliders. That's one thing that bothered me more about these wings, where I'm like, he's doing a lot of like from the ground flying in a way that I'm like, I don't know how this
like
works.
a little rocket
is
pack,
he?
right?
There's propulsion in there. There's some kind of propulsion. What bothers me more is Red Wing, his sidekick, who is in the comics is an actual living bird, and here's some kind of freaking robot that shoots lasers out. I don't like that at all.
Yeah, that's not as cool.
No.
Okay, so they managed to stop the brainwashed pilots. They managed to shoot down the missiles that have all been blasted all over creation. Japan stands down, but in the process, Joaquin Torres gets gravely injured, and they have to airlift him.
Is
and
this the
put him in
end of
hospital.
the new Falcon? Oh,
Yes.
no, guys. Will he survive? And are they going to kill Isaiah Bradley in the movie? I'm in such suspense about what's going to
Probably,
happen
yeah.
to these characters.
So Captain goes to visit. Meanwhile, during this whole debacle, President Ross, while being yelled at by Stearns over his earpiece, almost gives into his rage, and his eyes become red.
And
What?
this is one of those things that you're supposed to, I think, be intrigued and mystified by what's going to happen. But all of the advertising was about the president turns into a Red Hulk and beats the shit out of Captain America. So
This is one of those things. I mean, this is a thing where, like, if they had had enough other stuff in the movie to make it look interesting, they should have kept the Red Hulk stuff from the ads, because that's way more interesting.
I think you're right. I think they just didn't have and watching it, I was like, they should have had the Red Hulk stuff in the middle of the movie and then escalated it somehow from that, because it's the most fun thing in the movie, and that's why the advertising was all about it. But the whole time you're like, yeah. When's he going to turn into the Hulk? When's he going to do that?
Well, if a bunch of Snake guys showed up at the very end to be like, haha, we got you.
If he was fighting Snake Man, I'd be like, I can wait for Red Hulk to show up. He's fighting a guy whose body is a snake's body.
Well, especially because the rest of the movie is this like, we got to run from one place to the next place to the next place to unravel this like not that interesting conspiracy. Like that type of movie, I was wondering, like it works in Winter Soldier. What makes it boring here? To just be like, we're gonna.
I think there's a couple reasons why. One is in Winter Soldier, it's just made better. Like it's just written and directed, and there's more going on.
And it helps that Cap is like a man out of time, and it adds a little extra layer of interest for me.
And I think that they did. I think if you didn't know the Winter Soldier story, then the reveal that Bucky's the Winter Soldier is a big, exciting reveal that they did not advertise ahead of time. The character is cool enough as just a mysterious assassin that it was like, oh, Captain America's met his match. I guess that's what this movie is about. But also, I think because they did a better job of making the character personally invested in what's going on. Captain America is the Chris Evans version of Captain America has such a strong personality, and the idea of this character who is an optimist, a guy who is flush with the ideals of FDR's America, that he's dealing with this kind of seamier stuff or these secrets is an interesting parallel and juxtaposition. It gets to the heart of why that character is special, that he's not a part of these things. And then when he finds out, oh, it's Bucky that's doing this, there's a personal aspect to it. Whereas here, all the personal stakes, I mean, that Captain America's, Sam Wilson Captain America is that his friend is in jail, like that's something. That his other friend gets hurt, but these are not, they don't really go to the heart of who he is. And the real personal stakes are the president's, that he's doing all this because he doesn't want his daughter to keep thinking of him as a monster. And so it was like, this movie in a lot of ways is really about President Ross, and Captain America and the Falcon are there to, I guess, push the story forward. And it feels like it's the center of the movie is not in the right place, for what we're being asked for. And I think that's part of it. And also that the conspiracy is not that interesting. In Winter Soldier, it's a lot about they're covering up this thing that's been going on for a long time. And like it feels like the ground is really dropping out of him because how long has this been going on? Whereas here it's like kind of a dumb plan. It's a new thing that the whole thing is just to make the president look bad. It feels like the stakes are very, very low. I think that's my off the dome diagnosis. You guys, now it's time for your rebuttal. Tell me why I'm wrong.
You look dumb.
Oh man, you got me. I do look dumb.
So Captain America confronts
another point for debating Dan McCoy.
No, now I feel bad. You look great.
I look okay.
He confronts the president about his ties to Samuel Stearns. He claims that the reason he takes these pills is it has to do with some kind of heart condition that is unspecified. And
it's the only heart condition that can only be saved by being a little bit of a Hulk.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
While he's visiting Joaquin in the hospital, we see Bucky again, who is running for office. We will later find out. I believe he wins, right? He is a senator, right, by the Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
Is he a senator or a representative?
I don't remember.
I mean, it doesn't matter. But
he's in Congress.
Again, the idea that he wins after decades being a Soviet assassin is silly, but whatever. I would buy that kind of silliness.
Again, look at
who's that's true.
Thank you, Elliot.
Well, actually, I think it would disqualify him that he has actual military service as opposed to many of the people in the government now. But some of them have military service. They're just bad people. But I think I would buy that silliness more if this movie was a little okay with snake villains. I feel like if you had real snake villains, so much of this movie feels different, looks different, is cooler. Sure, Bucky Barnes is running for Congress. Why not? There's fucking Snake Men running around.
Throw Snake Men in there. And honestly, if you're going to have the leader in there, you're going to have Red Hulk and General Ross. You should have Bruce Banner in there at least a little bit.
Have the Hulk show up at some point, or explain why the Hulk is not involved in this story. I think they should have had They should have the president become Red Hulk in the middle, and a lot of the rest of the movie should have been the chase after the Red Hulk. And like they gotta get him or stop him or something like that. That feels like a more fun. And the Serpent Society is trying to get him.
He's on his way to Japan.
And the Serpent Society want to turn him into Snake Hulk, and that's why they got to stop him.
Not that it's super important, and there's probably been a throwaway.
Superman is coming out. Is out in theaters now, Dan. So that's super important. Yeah.
Not that
you meant Captain Important.
Yeah. Not that it's Captain Important, but maybe it's been addressed in like a throwaway line. Like, where is the Hulk right now? Like, what's he up to?
I don't think they mention him at all in the movie.
Yeah, it's like post all the, I don't know, like
post She-Hulk.
What did he do in She-Hulk? Because I didn't watch that either.
He kind of hung out and he talked to
he was like
his cousin a little bit.
He was like, this is the deal with being a Hulk. I'm your Hulk guide,
Did a little like, walk like a man. That kind of a
stomp
scene.
like a Hulk. Smash like a Hulk. Yeah, exactly.
Man, I like that She-Hulk show.
I liked it too. It's one of the better ones.
I should watch it sometime. I never got around to it, but I should watch it.
I'm warning you, Elliot. Like the comic book, it's a comedy.
Yeah.
What?
All these
nerds
on the internet were very angry to discover that.
I hate it when nerds on the internet
liked it.
I hate it when nerds on the internet are like, "Can you believe they did this to this character?" And they're the idiots. They're the ones who are unaware of how that character has functioned for the past 30 years. Well, the idea. This is the craziest thing. This is not what I'm doing a mini in a couple weeks, but this is not the mini that I want to do. But the idea that they're like, now we're getting a woke Superman who's like an immigrant refugee and fights for the poorest among us. And it's like, have you ever read a Superman comic? Like, this is baked in from 1938. Like, come on.
My father-in-law said that on Thursdays. Like, I hear this Superman's woke now. I'm like, I fucking hope so.
It's like Superman's earliest adventures were literally beating up landlords that were overcharging people. Like, come on. Like, this is... The idea that these, it's just, they don't care. They make these complaints for money because it gets attention and things like that. But the idea that like, the character was created by the sons of Jewish immigrants who were poor in the 30s is woke is like, can we believe it? What's going on here? It's just so dumb. Anyway.
So Samuel Stearns kills D-Man. So that must have bummed you out.
Yeah. I was almost as sad as when D-Man died in the real comics. Yeah.
Maybe this is the crucible in which D-Man is forged and comes back stronger. And D-Man.
Yeah, that would be when he becomes Demolition Man. Yeah, or destroy whatever his name is.
Okay. And then after
demolition.
a brief conversation with Captain America, Samuel Stearns is arrested by the police because this is all part of his plan, all part of his master plan. Meanwhile, the president is giving a press conference and people are actually like holding him accountable. What's that like? And of course, that everybody starts wrestling him, and
Well,
he
this is
wrestles
so-
back, and then he
this-
becomes Hulk.
This was one of the stranger that he's like gets really mad and he's like, "Arr," and they start grappling with him. And the Secret Service, it was weird. As soon as he turns into the Hulk, before he even smashes anything, they immediately start shooting guns at him. And I'm like, I don't know. When you're a Secret Service agent, I feel like you shouldn't be shooting at the president even when he's a Hulk. Like maybe make him do something dangerous first. But it was how quickly he went in their minds from
Yeah.
president to Hulk seemed very unprofessional for the Secret
And also,
Service.
like president to like Hulk, like guns wouldn't work on that guy either. He's the Hulk.
That's
right?
true. Yeah.
And also,
Famously doesn't get killed by guns.
I mean, I know that the Hulk is, we all know Hulk smash, but the Hulk, the last time we saw him, did help, save the world. So I don't know.
But this
You'd have
Hulk
been
is
like-
red,
Hulk.
Dan. He's
Yeah,
red,
be
the
like,
color of anger.
maybe this is a good Hulk who, when he hulks out, his clothes burn off.
Yeah.
Did you see like his
Did
clothes?
they burn
Yeah, his clothes
They
burn
like
off,
caught
yeah.
fire.
The power of the rage inside of him burns off his clothes. Yeah.
Okay, so
Except for the
uh,
little bit around his tush and his
Yeah,
penis.
yeah,
Don't worry,
his
that's not
penis.
hot enough, to
yeah,
get it to be
this is
burned
not
off.
28 years
Sounds
later.
pretty hot
Yeah.
to me.
Um, so the Hulk has a little bit of a rampage. He destroys a bunch of stuff around there.
There's a podium in front of him. The whole time I was like, when's he going to just wipe that,
He's just
slap
gonna
that podium
knock
away?
that
He's gonna,
thing out of
there
there.
he goes. Okay, good.
And Captain America messes with him. He keeps throwing these like vibranium blades out of his wings, and I'm like, those little blades have to be so expensive, right?
Yeah.
They're like little bits of. Is somebody going and picking them all up?
I mean, and they stole that from Archangel. That's Archangel's thing.
That's
he does.
Archangel's thing. Are
Yeah.
his wings vibranium or adamantium?
You know what? That's a good question. I don't know. There's some alien metal that Apocalypse uses.
just
So
found. Yeah.
they could be. Who knows what they are? I'll look it up. You keep talking about this. I'll look
I think
up
they're
what are,
adamantium.
what are
Um,
Archangel's wings made of.
Yes.
Out of?
Yeah, what's Warren Worthington III's wings made out of? So Captain America leads Hulk away from people.
Oh, okay. So they're made out of some kind of techno-organic metal.
Oh, I'm an idiot. Okay, so he leads the Red Hulk away. They end up in
Wait. According to Google, sometimes it's described as adamantium or a similar metal. So I think there's a controversy over what kind of metal it's made out of.
Yeah, or it could just be Google AI lying to us as it is wont to do.
That's also possible too.
Hard
So it
to
could be
know.
adamantium. Anyway, the point is those blades would be super expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, so Hulk chases Captain America to a field of cherry blossoms where they battle for a little while. And having been playing a lot of Elden Ring lately and some other Souls-like games, this reminds me a lot of those Souls-like fights where there's a lot of dodging this winged giant guy who's swinging and occasionally blocking.
I basically enjoyed this part. This is what you were asking for earlier, Elliot, a truly big guy going
Yeah.
up against a guy without actual powers.
Yes. And I think this was for me the most fun part of the movie is when it's Captain America versus the Hulk, and they're at the famous DC cherry blossoms, and it's like, great, this is a cool location. These are cool characters. I think they could have had, even if you're not going to ruin the excitement of Captain America fighting a really big guy, that guy in the beginning could have been a little bigger or had maybe snake powers, something to make him more than just like a dude.
Thank you.
But I think I think that this is the best part of the movie for me. This part actually lived up to a little bit of my hopes for it, where it's like Captain America versus this big Red Hulk.
So they have a fight.
I found it very distracting that his Harrison Ford's face, though. Did you guys find that, even though knowing he's the
Whose
character,
face should it have?
I don't. Even the Mark Ruffalo Hulk, like it looks a little bit like him, but not just like him. This looked just like Harrison Ford to me, so it felt strange.
Yeah, yeah, he's naturally
I
a
don't know.
Hulk.
It's like a lot of fan art that I've done over the years. Some Harrison Ford.
Like really strong and
And red
and
veiny.
his feet are giant.
Yeah, really giant feet. Yeah,
So they.
but in yours, he's usually making love to Sonic the Hedgehog.
That's right.
He's
I'm
the
glad you
bottom
called it
though. That's what's crazy.
because it really is. It's
I mean,
sensual.
the way he does it is very sensual. So the way you draw it is very sensual, and the way you show
Well, thank
Shrek
you.
watching them adds to the sensuality of it. Yeah. As Shrek holds hands with the green M&M. Yeah, it really adds to the sensuality of it.
Are they watching through a window or from the doorway?
No, they're sitting in
No, it's all
twin
part of
bathtubs.
the-
They're sitting in twin bathtubs holding hands, watching
that's
this happen
adorable.
on a bed that's covered in cherry blossom petals. Yeah.
Guys, I don't need to reveal anything, but the green M&Ms on my hall pass list.
Well, I mean, I feel like that's a pretty safe one for Charlene.
I mean, I don't even know how you get
it
your
could
penis
happen.
into her. She's got a candy shell.
I'll figure it out. So,
Jeez Louise.
so we get.
I didn't think that the Captain America Brave New World episode would somehow be the filthiest Flophouse episode in years. I think.
So we get the big moment where Captain America spears the Hulk with his super strong wing, and then it explodes with all the pent up kinetic energy it's absorbed, tossing them both aside. We think maybe this has stopped the Hulk, but in fact he is still going. Sam gets up and he just approaches the Hulk and he convinces him that, remember, you keep talking about these cherry blossoms and how you want to take your daughter Liv Tyler to see them. Let's just do this shit. And
Because
he's like,
his
what, you're right. And he
his-
melts and becomes Harrison Ford.
He off camera melts him because we just see a shadow. But yeah, the president's whole motivation the entire movie is I need to show my daughter who won't talk to me that I'm not a bad guy. So that's why I'm creating a treaty. That's why I'm trying to do good things, that kind of stuff. So this gets to him.
And we don't really get into it much, which is odd because like this would be the sort of central irony of the whole thing. She thinks he's a bad guy because he chased the Hulk. He like bedeviled the Hulk, who was
Her boyfriend,
and the fact that then he turns into a Hulk himself. It seems like there'd be more hay made of that fact. But I guess they figured, not wrong, that that happened a long time ago. People aren't really, that's not foremost in the MCU fans' minds.
I think they're expecting the audiences to connect the dots on that one. You know?
I guess. It's just,
He who,
I don't know.
as Nietzsche said, if you go hunting Hulks, you risk becoming a Hulk.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, then we got some wrap up here. Let's see. Nope, that's not the card. Wrap up. Nope, that's not the card. Okay.
It's one of those two that are in a separate pile.
So Captain America goes to talk to Joaquin, who's recovering in the hospital, and he basically extends an invitation to a formation of the Avengers. Meanwhile, Ross has been interred into the Raft, the super prison out in the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
He gets a visit from his daughter. He gets a visit from Sam, and we learn that there has been peace. We don't know who is the new president. Is it a Hulk? Maybe.
Probably not. But you never know.
And then finally, in a post-credit scene, which I actually watched, guys.
Wow,
Look,
wow.
hey, all of us can change. Some of us become Hulks when they change. Others of us become good podcasters.
It sounded like you said pondcasters to me for a moment. It just means that you're fishing in a pond.
Yeah. So in the post-credit scene, Sam goes to the Raft and visits the leader, who basically just talks about multiverses. And this, of course, is when they're trying to bring up the idea of multiverses so that we remember the fact that that's all they've been talking about for the last however many movies. Which is, I'm sure, this is Stuart's little theory corner. I'm sure that's what's going to happen in the Avengers Doomsday movie. Is that Robert Downey Jr. is coming back because in some other dimensions, Tony Stark, he is Dr. Doom and not Iron Man. I'm 100% sure of that. If I'm wrong, I will be shocked.
No, I'm sure that's the case. I mean, what he's particularly leading up to is, because I think the new Marvel stuff is based on the most recent Secret Wars thing, is this that Jonathan Hickman did, where I think what they're doing is what they did in the comics there, where not just are there multiverses, but the multiverses are starting to merge together in what are called incursions. And so when two worlds are about to incur, one of them has to be destroyed. And in that series, the secret Illuminati that's made up of a bunch of Marvel characters, they start destroying these other
Snake
worlds.
Men?
They're not Snake Men. No, it's like Doctor Strange and Professor X and, Namor or whatever. And and Black Panther. They start destroying these other worlds before they can endanger our Earth. And so I think you're right that it's going to be some alternate world where Tony Stark became Doctor Doom. Very disappointing. I want Doctor Doom to have an Eastern European accent. I want him to be the monarch of Latveria. But maybe he will be. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he will be doing that, But I think
we can hope.
When he's like, when these threats come from other worlds, Captain America, I think that's what he's talking about, particularly, specifically.
Yeah. Okay.
And Doom,
okay, well,
in the Secret Wars comics, eventually Doom put a bunch of worlds together into last surviving world, and I bet that'll be what they do with it. It was not a story that I loved particularly.
Let's
Sounds like a very Jonathan Hickman story.
It's
though.
a very Jonathan Hickman story. Yeah.
let's do our final judgments on Captain America: Brave New World. Is this a good mad movie? A good bad movie? A bad movie?
This movie's good and mad.
It's got a Red Hulk in it. Or a movie we kind of liked. Here's the thing. I saw this in
With
the
your
theater, even though I had heard it was not that great. But I am that bought into seeing these things that I went out, had a little movie pick me up, and knowing walking in that it was not going to be that great, I kind of liked it just because it was like, well, yeah, I'm seeing some of my old friends again. They're doing stuff. Rewatching it at home, it was a real slog, but I don't think any of us in this world, other than bad movie podcasters, are going to make the choice to watch this movie twice. So I have to go with my initial assessment that it's a movie I kind of liked, but it is near the floor of these movies for me.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, I think it doesn't help that this is part of a number of movies that I've watched recent action movies where they have where the president is involved in some kind of action or something, whether the president is like Viola Davis, or the president is John Cena, or the president is a Hulk. In all these cases, I'm like, I would rather that president be my president. I feel like of the Marvel movies, this is probably the one that has felt the least like this one has felt the most joyless of all them, maybe. Mm-hmm. I think partly, it obviously was edited to death, and it just doesn't feel very fun. And despite the fact there's a giant President Hulk running around, it doesn't feel very special. Like there's no special moments, and they ignore kind of one of the key tenets of these Marvel movies, which is one of the things that's been so successful is keying into what makes a character a certain amount of wish fulfillment for a person. Like Thor is like a big, dumb, strong guy who gets to kind of do whatever he wants and have fun. Tony Stark is the smartest man in the room all the time, that sort of thing. Captain America is this guy who's out of time and is also like super strong, is super capable of doing things. And I feel like Sam they don't do enough stuff to make him fun, like to make him the lead. And I think there's space there. I mean, we've talked about how, like, I think if they leaned more into the fact that he's just like effectively a regular guy in this crazy world and he's just doing his best, that's a much more interesting take on the character that they could lean into, I think, more. But yeah, it's tough to say. I guess this is a movie I kind of like because these things are all like fine. Like the base level of quality is higher than a lot of the things we watch. And it wasn't the like visual mess that Quantumania was. So I guess it was fine, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I would
a rousing endorsement.
I would call it bad, but kind of for the same reasons. I find it kind of bland and just kind of functional and kind of dull. And it is I think the Marvel movie that made the least impression of me. Say what you will about Quantumania.
Right.
We did a whole podcast about it. It at least made an impression on me. Whereas this one, it was like, all right, yeah, that they made this. Yeah, like this happened. And it feels like it is even as they're making it, it feels like they're not trying to make it more than unforgettable or more than forgettable. It's the 35th one. Like at a certain point, I feel like this is the point where if I was a Marvel executive or a Disney executive, I would be like, okay, I think we're running out of special. So let's like take 5 years off from making these, and then we can come back with something special. It's not. If you watch it, it's not like it's a terrible worst movie ever made or anything. But it's just kind of while you're watching it, you're like, all right, like I don't really see the purpose for any of this other than to keep the brand going. So I'm going to say bad, but it's not. But I've seen worse bad movies than this one.
Yeah.
I've seen worse. Raves Elliott of the Flophouse.
Are you a celebrity? Are you searching for meaning, connection, and a little levity these days? Hi, I'm Kumail Nanjiani, actor, writer, and yes, a celebrity too. And I've got 4 words for you. Bullseye with Jesse Thorne. Are you tired of junkets, red carpets, sick of the endless spicy snacks you have to eat? Do you want to connect with someone who gets your work and laugh with you a little? Join me, Andre 3000, Tom Hanks, Tina Fey, and many more and become a guest on Bullseye with Jesse Thorne from NPR and Maximum Fun.
Walking About is the podcast about walking. It's a walkumentary series where I, Alan McLeod, and a fun, friendly guest go for a walkabout. You'll learn about interesting people and places and have the kind of conversations you can only have on foot. We've got guests like Lauren Lapkus,
I figured something out about this map, like how to read it.
Betsy Sidaro,
I had no clue. That's awesome and nuts.
John Gabris,
This is like great first date for like broke 20-somethings, you know?
and more. Check out Walking About with Alan McLeod on Maximum Fun.
The Flophouse podcast is, of course, mostly supported by listeners like you who are members at MaximumFun.org. But Stuart, I believe you have a sponsor to tell us about this week as well.
And to lead in, I'm going to mention that in addition to running 3 different bars here in Brooklyn, my wife is in the process of opening up a fitness studio called Jiggle Studio. You can follow our progress on Instagram, Jiggle Studio BK. But the process of setting up a small business and running it and doing all that stuff is really challenging and tough. But with the help of Squarespace, our sponsor, it can make your life a little bit easier. It's a easy way to set up your own website and use that website to invoice people, to make money, to sell products, provide receipts, as well as a number of other management tools, whether it's scheduling, et cetera, et cetera. And the user interface is really easy, even if you do not have that kind of design background. And you are a small business owner who's just trying to get your website up and running so that you can open your little gym. So if you are ready to take the plunge, why don't you head over to squarespace.com/flop for a free trial today. And when you're ready to launch, use offer code FLOP to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
We've got a bit in the way of show news, but before I get into that, Ellie, do you have any personal plugs you want to do?
I've always got personal plugs. You know about me. I love to plug things and I love to unplug them. But today I'm going to plug them. And it's the same stuff that you know I'm always talking about. Go to your comic book store once a month and pick up Harley Quinn from DC Comics. I've been writing it and I've been having a ball writing it. Go to your podcast feed when you're done with this episode and maybe check out Clueless on the Smartless Network. That's the puzzle podcast that I host. And of course, there's my new children's book, Sadie Mouse Wrecks the House. Go to your local independent bookstore and pick up a copy of that. It's a great picture book for kids. It's really fun. Kids love it. So those are a bunch of new things. And I got a book coming out in November. We'll talk about that more later in the year. Until then, here are your assignments. Go buy Sadie Mouse Wrecks the House. Go pick up Harley Quinn in your comic book store. And don't pick her up. Just pick up the comic book that she's in and then take it to the register and then buy it and then read it. And go listen to Clueless when you're done with this. Dan, what about you? What do you got to say?
Elliot, your first trade paperback of Harley Quinn is going to be out towards the end of July. I have it.
Is it? Oh, you know more about this than I do. Thank you.
Well, it was because I've had it pre-ordered for quite some time because I can never remember to go buy individual issues of comics.
It's really hard. I've been recently doing it for both Elliot's Comics and a friend of the podcast, Xander Cannon's new book, Sleep. And it's tough for me to get back in the habit.
Yeah. That's hard, and I don't like reading them digitally, so I was just waiting for a way to see, what I've been hearing about from Elliot all these many months, and finally I'm going to get to dig in.
You're right. It comes out July 29th. That's Harley Quinn Volume 1, Destructive Comics, and it collects it's 152 pages according to this. It collects the first 6 issues of my run. So you'll be introduced to Harley's new world of Throat Cutter Hill. That's the neighborhood she's in, and some of her new characters that she's dealing with. There's a couple of new villains in there that are really silly.
Are they snake men?
Oh, I've got to get a Snake Man in there. That's what I should do next.
Yeah.
Yes, that comes out the end of July. Harley Quinn Volume 1, Destructive Comics, and the issues come out once a month.
Yeah. Well, enough about Elliot. Now I'm going to make it's 1/3 still about Elliot. I want to mention that Flop TV season 3 is officially coming. We've
It's
been
back.
talking
Flop
about it.
TV
We've been
is
planning.
back.
We're going to be streaming 6 episodes once a month, but from September through February of next
First
year.
Saturday of the month, September through February.
And we'll be in our usual time slot, the first Saturday of the month at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific. And this year, the Flophouse is going back in time. Not literally, although God knows, wouldn't that be nice? No, this year, the theme is Flopsterpiece Theater, and we'll be covering significant bad movies decade by decade, starting in the 2000s and working our way back to the 1950s. So
Almost like a what if the Flophouse had existed when this movie had existed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We're going to be going back. What's on the menu in September? We'll discuss 2002's mega flop, The Adventures of Pluto Nash.
I'm genuinely very excited about talking about this one because I cannot believe this movie exists. I've been
Yeah.
thinking about it ever since it first came out. I've never seen it. I'm excited.
I've never seen it either. In October, we'll discuss 1998's Jack Frost. That's not the campy horror movie. It's the one where Michael Keaton dies and becomes a snowman.
He's also a
And
jazz musician who becomes a snowman.
November, coming in just under the wire for the 80s, will be 1980's Xanadu, which is, spoiler alert, actually a pretty fun movie, silly movie. December's film will be a big movie in Flophouse lore. It's 1974's Zardoz.
This is going to be an interesting one for me because there's a lot in Zardoz that I like. So get ready for it.
In January, we're going to discuss the movie that helped kill old Hollywood, 1967's Dr. Dolittle. And in February, we're going to round everything out with one of the Mount Rushmore bad movies, 1957's Plan 9 from Outer Space, directed by Ed Wood, the bad movie auteur who had a biopic made about him when Tommy Wiseau was still selling irregular blue jeans. Tickets will not be on sale until July 26th, but I'm going to put the link in your brain now so you can bookmark it, or maybe you're listening to this in the future. But when you can get tickets, go to theflophouse.simpletix.com, and that's Tix, T-I-X. Just like last time, show tickets for individual shows will be $7, or you can get a whole season pass for $35, which is the equivalent of getting one episode for free. So
Dan,
again,
you mean we're giving away an episode if
just-
people buy the season pass? What
we're
are we doing? Are we
essentially
crazy?
giving away an episode for money. So come the sale date in late July. That link again is theflophouse.simpletix.com. We hope you'll join us. And really quick, I also wanted to mention that some listeners have set up a Flophouse Discord. I've mentioned it briefly in passing before, but I want to try and shout it out more regularly. If you're sick of some of the poisonous social media sites out there, but still want to connect with other podcast listeners, you can go to http:// you know that part. I don't need to say it.
Yeah, I think people are ready for it right now.
Lastnamewithheld.com. Lastnamewithheld.com, and join up and chat with the lovely folks that hang out over there. So that's that.
That's that.
Let's get on to some letters from listeners. And just as soon as I open up the separate email that stuff is in. Okay, I've got it.
Dan, someday I want to introduce you to a new thing called tabs.
Tabs?
Is that
On
multiple
your
cans
phone?
of Tab Cola or whatever?
That's exactly what it is. It's keeping your energy up so you can open those emails faster by drinking multiple cans of Tab.
So
Brought to you by Tab Hunter.
this email
Win a date with Tad Hamilton.
is from
No, Tab Hamilton.
What did I say?
Well, it's
Tad.
Tad Hamilton.
No, but it should be Tab Hamilton.
Tab Hamilton?
Yeah, that's
Tab
right.
Hamilton.
This
Was he the one who must die, or was that somebody else who must
John
die?
Tucker must die.
Oh,
John
John
Carter.
John
No.
Carter must die. Yeah,
No.
Get Carter must die. Win a date
Spe-
with Michael Clayton.
Spencer, last name withheld,
Gifts.
writes us to say, Dear Peaches, I was digging in my garden, catching up with the Heartbeeps episode, when suddenly I heard the three hosts talking about Tucson, Arizona. Here's the thing. My office in Ohio closed down recently, and I lost my job, so my wife and I had been discussing moving back to our hometown of Tucson, Arizona. I'd applied for dozens of jobs and had a few interviews, but hadn't heard back in weeks and was starting to feel discouraged. And now there I was, shovel in hand, podcast in my ear, hearing Dan, Stewart, and Elliot literally say, "Go to Arizona. Go to Tucson, Arizona. Welcome to Tucson." What a strange coincidence, I thought to myself. I hope that's a sign. And guys, I swear, with Crom as my witness, not 20 minutes later, I got a phone call from HR offering me a job and a relocation package to help me move back to Tucson, Arizona. So my question is, when you guys are weaving the dark tapestry that decides my fate, are you aware of the decisions you're making and how it affects me? Or am I just one thread in the cosmic forces that flow through you?
Are we the three spinners?
Either
Must
way,
be, yeah.
thanks. Keep on flopping. Spencer, last name withheld.
One spins, one measures, one cuts. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No, you have to measure twice, cut once. That's the,
Two of them measure and then one of them cuts. Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I
That's-
wonder who else
That's
is.
an exciting story. I hope you have a lovely time in Tucson, Arizona.
I hope so too. There's a, I wonder like what other lives we're affecting. It's just like when a butterfly flaps its wings in Peru and suddenly Japan goes for that adamantium island and gets in a war with the United States or whatever. Well, if your life has been affected by the Flophouse in a strange, mysterious, and perhaps diabolical way, please write in and tell us about it.
Yeah. And then we'll submit it to Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah.
And say what, it's been solved? I don't understand.
That show's so fucked up to watch now because you're like, did they ever catch those fucking guys? It's been like 30 years.
Are they behind me right now? This is a letter from Anne Maria. Anne Marie's last name withheld. It sounded like I said Anne Maria briefly, so I had to.
I thought you said
correct
Anne
myself.
Murray. Yeah.
No, it's from Anne Marie, last name withheld. Dear OPs, I'm happily and unexpectedly pregnant after years of infertility.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I haven't been able to listen to anything except the Flophouse since I found out. Re-listening to old episodes, I heard a pre-parented Elliot say he assumed that regardless of how cool a parent he is, their kids would think they are a loser. Has that
Prediction come true. That prophecy has been fulfilled.
That was what I was going to...
Yeah.
That was the next question. Has that prediction turned out to be true? She also asked, what movies should I watch to prepare for being a parent? Most importantly, what the hell do I name a boy? Thanks. Love, Anne Marie. So...
I mean, you can name a boy whatever you want. That's the great thing about names is there's no laws about it.
They're just
Deathstalker,
words.
Cyberman,
Deathstalker 2.
Deathstalker 2, Cyberman. Yeah.
a Barbarian Queen.
Yeah.
Cyborg 2.
Yeah.
All great names for boys or girls, to be honest. I was thinking about this.
Megatron.
Dan tipped me off not about the letter, but about the question ahead of time. And I've been thinking, what is a movie to watch to prepare you for parenting? And I honestly, there's only two I can think of, and those movies are Gremlins and Gremlins 2: The New Batch. Like that's like the sheer feeling of being overwhelmed in the chaos of a little thing demanding your attention and breaking stuff and making a mess. Like that's. But then you love them, just like in Gremlins. And they do funny things that are unexpected, like in Gremlins 2 and in the first Gremlins, to be honest. So I would watch the Gremlins movies to prepare for parenthood. Yeah.
That's good advice. Dan, do you have any parenting advice?
I've tried to avoid it mostly.
Mostly? So do you like every now and then you like do a day of parenting somewhere?
I've babysat people. I don't know.
Oh, okay. People?
Yeah, people. Then I put ads on Craigslist.
It's like
for,
House of the Devil.
do people want to be babysat by me?
Dan, I know a website you might want to go to. Yeah.
Hey, let's recommend some movies that might be a better use of your time.
Why not?
I'm gonna go out on a real limb here. I'm gonna recommend.
You're in shaky territory.
I'm gonna recommend an unknown, tiny little movie called Jaws from 1975,
Whoa.
which I recommend because
It's the 50th anniversary.
it's the 50th anniversary, but also just recently, Audrey watched it for the first time after several times of me suggesting, "Hey, you want to see Jaws finally?" And it's funny. She's like told me that like multiple people have come up to her to be like, "So how'd you like Jaws?" because I had told them that she was finally watching Jaws. It's just like, stop telling people that I finally watched Jaws. But I was just so excited for someone to experience Jaws who had not seen it. And she loved it. Like, seeing Star Wars late in life after having no particular knowledge of Star Wars and like being influenced by all the things that came after Star Wars, she was like, yeah, this is fine. Didn't like make a dent, but Jaws still has its power. And I don't know, like scene by scene, it's, one of the most entertaining, if not the most entertaining, one of the, just in terms of like just fun storytelling, right up at the top of the mountain. So, if you haven't seen it in a while, watch Jaws.
Yeah. Do you like movies? Watch that. So I'm gonna recommend a movie that is held in almost as high esteem, and that is
was the setup.
Gary Busey's Hider in the House.
And there's the punchline.
Dan, have you seen Hider in the House?
I don't think I've seen Hider in the House.
It's kind of like
no.
Parasite for bad movie sickos, where Gary Busey plays a, let's say, kind of weird dude.
Let's call him a hider.
Who finds a mansion that's being renovated, and he climbs up into the attic and he makes himself a little hideaway in there. And he sneaks out every once in a while, and he tries to integrate himself in the family, who are played by Mimi Rogers and Michael McKean.
This is a great cast.
This is a movie that I feel like I'm recommending it now partly so that I can put it on our radar so that we can do it for the podcast sometime, because it is a blast.
Looks like it's
2
available on
thumbs up.
both Tubi and YouTube in full.
Yeah. 2 thumbs up.
Mark of quality.
This was recommended to me by Flophouse friend Steve Kostansky, who watched it while he was working on, I'm guessing, like Heads Exploding or something in his workshop.
I'm looking at Stuart. Now I'm excited about it. I'm looking at in the Wikipedia entry. It says production that they brought in a psychologist to make the Gary Busey character as realistic as possible. Apparently, it says after meeting with the psychologist, Gary Busey was excited, saying it was a NAR film. He explained that NAR meant no acting required. Gary said, "I am the character."
It reads on screen. Yeah.
I'm also going to recommend an older movie. No one's recommending new movies today, which is great. That's fine with me. I haven't gotten to watch a lot of movies lately because I've been so busy, and I had to watch Captain America: Brave New World for some reason. But
I'll tell you, you're like halfway through Sinners, right?
I'm like a little bit less than halfway through Sinners. I'm enjoying it so far.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But my wife and I, we had some time together recently. It was great, and we got together and watched. She said, "I want to watch a black and white romantic comedy," and I said, Let's see what's available right now. And we watched Roman Holiday, which both of us had seen but hadn't watched in a long time. It's so great. It's such a great movie. It's so charming. It feels so effortless and so fun. And it's a movie that the stakes are incredibly low. The stakes are, will this princess get caught for running away for a day to have fun in Rome? Will the reporter be revealed as a reporter and not just some guy who's showing around Rome for the day? But it's so effervescent, It's so fun to see them actually in Rome. The comedy is funny. The romance works really well. The ending is I love, and Audrey Hepburn's so magical in it. Gregory Peck is great in it. William Wyler directed it, so it's not a surprise because he's one of the all-time greats. But it's just and the new version of it, at some point in the past, they updated the credits so that Dalton Trumbo, who had been blacklisted at the time, is now credited in the movie for writing it and coming up with the story. So I'm happy to see him getting the credit he deserves for it. But it's just a really fun movie. It's so worth watching. If you've never seen it and you want to see a romantic comedy that's just kind of like charming all the way through, then Roman Holiday is the one I will recommend to you.
Yeah, it's fun to see. Why can't I remember his name? Gregory Peck in a role like that, because I love Gregory Peck, but he has this sort of stiff energy, but it plays so beautifully off of Audrey Hepburn's just total lightness. It's really fun.
It's one of these things where this was Audrey Hepburn's first American movie. I think she had been she had performed in other countries, but just seeing the newness of her comes across so excitingly in the movie. This movie is 72 years old, and when you're watching it, it still feels like someone new being brought into film in an exciting way. So it's really good. And Gregory Peck playing he's not a slimy character, but a less ethical character than you would usually see him in, other than The Boys from Brazil, where he's playing a Nazi, But in most of his movies, he's more of an upright character. So it's just really fun. Also, to see how little Audrey Hepburn is and how enormous Gregory Peck is, just the scale that their physical bodies are at. It's I don't know. There's just something. There's so much fun in the movie. So that's Roman Holiday. Not to be confused with Roman Mars, my co-host on the 99% Invisible Breakdown, The Power Broker. Still available. You can still listen to
You
it.
got there before I could. Well, thanks everyone for listening. The Flophouse, of course, is part of the Maximum Fun podcast network. Go over to MaximumFun.org. Check out all the other great podcasts on said network. They've treated us very well over the years. Why don't you treat them well by checking out a new show? Thank you to Alex Smith, our producer. He goes by the name Howell Doughty. That's HOWELLDAWDY. And check out his music and his Twitch streams. But for the Flophouse, I've been Dan McCoy.
I've been Stuart Wellington.
I'm Elliot Kalin.
Bye.
See ya.
Alex,
I hope you enjoyed all the arguing.
What I love is Dan is the one who's like being sincere, and the two of us are also like poke, 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 tease, tease, tease. It's all facetious, but Dan gets real mad.
That's the way it works. Okay.
Maximum Fun,
a worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows.
supported
directly
by you.